How's it going? I had a student in her lesson yesterday bring this song in because she was interested in learning pretty much just the intro that I just played for you there. So I thought I'd make a quick video about it because it's a really cool guitar part, especially if you're interested in getting into this kind of R&B, Motown, double stop melodic playing style. It's a really good exercise in that. So what we're going to do is zoom in on the fretboard here. I got some tabs that I'm going to put on the screen, and we'll break it down one piece at a time. And then maybe, if you want to stick around, I'll talk a little bit about the music theory that's going on here, because if you're not familiar with soloing out of different major scale shapes, this is a great introduction to that as well. Okay, so we are kind of hanging out pretty much in the 12th position of the guitar, so high up here by fret 12 on the guitar neck. And you'll see that we start with this double stop, or dyad, which is a 2-note chord. You're playing 12 on the high E and 13 on the B. Now you could start, and I'll do this sometimes too if I'm not really thinking about it, you can just have those two fingers here hitting that chord, and that's totally fine. Another option, I think this is what the guitar player does because I watched a live video, is you can kind of get ready for what's going to be coming next by doing a 3-string bar on fret 12 with your first finger here. Now, you've got to be careful not to strike the G string with your pick over here, but it's there because we're going to need it a couple chords away. So you could do that or this. There's no wrong answer, whatever feels more comfortable for you. So we're grabbing that, and then with our third finger and pinky, we're going to play 14 on G and 15 on B together. And then, here we go, if I let go of those, I've got my second finger on 13B and my first finger on 12G, like it was there already. So watch. That's that first walk down. Oops, try to play it right this time. All right, and it might feel a little strange using the pinky there. There are other areas on the fretboard you can play this, but I watched that video and this is where the guitar player's hanging out, so it's worth it just to get some pinky practice. Now we have a grace note hammer-on coming up next. So what that means is that we are technically going to be striking 12 and 13 a second time, but they're not going to get any rhythm. You're immediately going to hammer the third and pinky fingers back onto 14 and 15. It's just a nice little embellishment. Remember, it doesn't get any actual rhythm. It's just there as like a sound effect. And then we are right back there all over again. And then we go down to our first single note here, fret 14 on the D string. So that's that intro pickup before the band kicks in. And then here's where it gets kind of interesting from a rhythmic perspective. We're going to get a hit what's a full C major triad here, which is what we're already playing here, 12, 13, and 12. Then we back off of playing that top string, but we keep the rest of the shape the same when we go into the strummy thing. Now this is a little bit tricky to do, and this is my best approximation of it. It's a little bit hard to hear exactly what's going on. Essentially what's going on in the strumming hand is that we are doing a alternate strum on our 16th notes. So our 8th notes are getting down strums this time, just because of the fact that we will have to play 16th notes. They are what's going to get our down and up strums. And there's a little bit of a swing, shuffly kind of feel. You can hear that long, short, long, short, long, short thing going on. That's what we're going on here. We hit that on the and of 4 here. Then I grab that first one on an up. I have my 16th note rest, which means I got to come back for another up, sorry, I'll hit that right, up, down, hammer on. And that's hammering on. Again, you can see to 14 and 16. Then, after a full beat of rest there, the 2 8th note rests, I'm still on this C major triad right here, all 3 strings, and I'm just doing down, up. Then we're into measure 3, and it's kind of a similar kind of rhythmic pattern here. We're just repeating that figure all over again. Okay, and then it gets to our last part, right? It's a really quick little melody here. It just repeats twice for the intro before the verse comes in. And this is the coolest part. So we're breaking out of this fret 12 position thing that we've been in, and we are doing another grace note, but this time it's a slide. So we're technically starting on 14 and 15 on G and B respectively, but we're immediately sliding up 2 frets into 16, 17. A very common kind of embellishment you'll hear in this style. Then, a little bit more complicated, we're doing a two grace notes sliding up from 14/15 to 15/16, and then back down again right here. It's really fast. So what you got to do here is just make sure you've got really good finger placement. You should really be on the tips of the fingers, and definitely don't be pressing too hard. There's a huge part in playing guitar here. Never use more, effort than you need to, because that's just going to hold you back if you're digging into those strings too much. So you got to have a pretty light touch here to get that quick little slide up and back down. And then we're just moving it down 2 more frets back to home base here on 12 and 13. So here's that riff. All together. And I'm just putting a little bit of vibrato on that. The guitar player might be using trem vibrato. I don't have my trem arm in, so doing it the old-fashioned way, I guess. Now, if you're interested in learning a little bit about the music theory behind this, the best thing you can take away from this is what scale shape it's using. And this is in the key of C major, so we're using the C major scale. All the notes in this riff are diatonic, which means they are native to that scale. We're not going outside for anything, but we're using the C shape of the C major scale if we're thinking about caged terms. So here's the scale that they're drawing this from. My low root here is the 15th fret on my A string. Then I go up to D string on frets 12, 14, 15. On the G string, I'm on frets 12 and 14. That was a big truck. And on the B string, I'm on 12, 13, 15. And then the same thing on the high E, 12, 13, 15. Now, my 2 root notes in this scale, because we always want to be thinking about where our root notes are, is obviously the first note I played, 15, and then fret 13 here. Those are the octaves. So that's the scale shape. If you want the extra credit, you can go lower than the root to cover everything in this position, which would be down to 14A, 12A, and then 15E, 13E, down to 12, and then always make sure you go back up to end on your root note there. So root to root, here's what it sounds like. Then, even further than that, I told you how we were making a C triad up here, doing that with the bar styling. A lot of times you'll see people play it like this, which you should recognize that shape. It's just a D major chord without the D string, very important. This is part of a larger full chord shape, the actual open C major shape that you normally play down here. We're just moving that up an octave, and because we don't have open strings, the fingering has to change. So right here, this is a little bit tricky, up this high, but it helps you visualize where all the notes land in the whole riff. So I got my pinky on 15A, my third finger on 14D, got the first finger handling the bar on 12G, second finger is on 13B, and then we have the first finger again, barring on 12, high E. So to connect this with the riff that we're learning, you kind of want to like visualize where all this is as you play through the riff. Go like, oh yeah, this is literally part of the chord right here that I start on. I'm hitting these notes in the scale. Oh yeah, still part of the chord. Just kind of going piece by piece there and connecting the dots. And then you can take that and make your own music with it, which is the best thing to do with stuff like this. Right? That's kind of the whole point. You can move it down to another key. Right, our root note is down here on the A string, so as long as you know what note your pinky's on, you can find where you are. And like I said, this is a really kind of satisfying genre and style to be messing around with to write riffs. Like, you just steal these dyads and turn them into your own thing. And there you go.